Good morning and welcome to Rising. We just have a fantastic show for you today on this Monday morning. Good to be back in the seat with Niall Stanage. Hello, Niall. How was your weekend?
It was very good, Robby. It was quite quiet, relaxed, but the Irish soccer team won a key victory in the last seconds of a game yesterday, so I was excited about that.
Well, that is exciting.
That is exciting. How was your weekend?
It was good. Lots of fun and friends and parties. I actually have a friend who's moving to Pakistan, so we had a going away party for him. He works for the State Department.
That's very dramatic.
And Friendsgivings and all sorts of other things. So good weekend.
Fantastic. Looking forward to the show today?
Yes, I am. Let's get to it.
Absolutely. Coming up on Rising, President Trump has made a complete 180 on the Epstein files, writing in a Truth Social post last night that they should be released.
Plus, comedian Bill Maher went off on New York City Mayor-elect, Zohran Mamdani, and spoke about the dangers of socialism.
And podcaster Tim Dillon blasted President Trump for his position on H-1B visas and allowing Chinese students into US universities. But first, before all that, Robby, let's get started. What is on your radar?
Let's get to it. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking out after President Donald Trump denounced her as a traitor to him and to the MAGA movement. This spectacular breakup between the president and one of his closest allies took place last week, with Trump writing on Truth Social, "I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, that they too are fed up with her and her antics. And if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support." She has gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ Republican-hating anchors. Thank you for your attention to this matter. If that wasn't clear enough, the president also wrote, "Marjorie Traitor Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party." Harsh words for a woman who personifies the very spirit of America First, whose only crime is occasionally disagreeing with the president when she thinks that he's gone astray from pursuing the policies of America First. Now, Greene appeared on CNN over the weekend and explained how Trump calling her a traitor was hurtful and untrue. Let's watch.
His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
MTG goes on to note that Trump's anger toward her is really solely based on her support for releasing more files related to convicted sex predator Jeffrey Epstein. Watch this.
I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations, and I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files, and I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong.
MTG notes, as I have, that we've no reason to believe Trump himself is implicated by the files. None of the victims of Epstein have implicated Trump in bad behavior, and the late Virginia Giuffre, the most notable of Epstein's many victims, explicitly acquitted Trump. But that's what makes Trump's opposition to greater disclosure so confusing. It makes it look like he does have something to hide. That's why Democrats are having a field day with this, even though the party clearly has no real interest in getting to the bottom of the Epstein issue, a few principled figures like Ro Khanna aside. MTG has also been sounding the alarm about the administration failing to pay sufficient attention to the issue of affordability. She knows it's still the economy, stupid. That widespread frustration over Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party's ignorant economic policies is what returned Trump to power. That's the main thing. Republicans need to be laser focused on lowering the costs of food and housing and childcare for all Americans. Unfortunately, all too often the administration is getting lost in the weeds and is implementing national security measures, immigration crackdowns, tariffs that Sure, maybe they are justifiable for other reasons, but they do not and will not make things more affordable for Americans. On the contrary, tariffs are just taxes, and the mass deportation of workers also raises costs. MTG understands that. Even Trump understands that to some extent. As I explained in my radar last week, Trump was absolutely right when he schooled Laura Ingraham on H-1B visas, explaining that we need to import high-skilled South Korean workers to the U.S. if we want to actually build the factories here. America First doesn't mean zero engagement with the rest of the world on trade and immigration. How could it? You can put your family first without committing to building all of your own furniture or growing all of your own food. A little bit of common sense economics would really help the Republican Party out of a tough spot right now, even as the Democratic Party seems inclined to fully pivot to Zohran Mamdani-style socialism and central planning, which will immiserate Americans. But back to MTG. I also want to salute her for the expert way in which she handled the mainstream media. CNN tried to trap her. Dana Bash asked MTG if she was so bothered by Trump's rhetoric toward her, why has she never spoken out against toxic rhetoric in the past? Here's how MTG responded.
I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions, and I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences. Yeah. And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
Now, those are admirable sentiments. We can disagree with each other very passionately without wanting each other dead, obviously. We can hate each other's very bad or incorrect policy ideas without hating particular people. It is incumbent on everyone, right, left, and center, to bring down the level of toxicity in our political discourse and to assume good faith whenever possible, though we cannot use the threat of toxic discourse as an excuse to engage in censorship, as MTG makes clear. Now, sometimes free speech is messy, and it's unpolite, and it's uncivil, and that's simply the consequence of living in a free society, where people who disagree stridently are allowed to do so and to engage in persuasion in order to make this country a better place. The political rhetoric is very nice and polite in authoritarian countries because there isn't any.
Good stuff, Robby.
Thank you.
So I think that one of the curious things about the whole toxic rhetoric issue here is Trump branding Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor. And she says that that has elicited threats toward her, including, I think in specific terms, a threat of a pipe bombing against her business. Now, firstly, just that rhetoric isn't helpful or useful to start off with. But secondly, to me, it points out how much the Republican Party has just become a party of Trump, because nothing that Marjorie Taylor Greene is advocating for is different than the supposed MAGA agenda. Right. She is very much aligned with Trump, or what were assumed to be Trump's beliefs about non-interventionism, about immigration, about issues like that. And it is the fact that she has broken with him on the Epstein thing that seems to have elicited this enormous anger. And I think that's just part of a bigger picture where the Republican Party is so much in his thrall.
Right. Maybe it's personal. Trump has suggested that it was because he dissuaded her from running for either Senate or governor of Georgia. She said on TV in this CNN interview that was absolutely not true, that they never had a conversation about that. So then CNN said, so are you saying Trump is lying about it? And she said, well, maybe he was misinformed about it by advisors that I was considering that. I say I was never considering it. Maybe there's some actual personal disagreement going on there. But yeah, the broader lesson is, and I'm not even sure I would say, you shouldn't, it's wrong to call her a traitor. She's not a traitor to America, certainly. She's not even a traitor to the Republican Party. She's doing what she thinks is right. She's doing what she thinks is in the best interest of the Republican Party. I don't know that calling someone a traitor is like necessarily inviting violence on them. Well, even though I generally agree with her, I kind of balked at her saying that that's akin to inviting attacks on my person.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're a patriotic American who supports Trump and he labels someone a traitor, the implication is that the action should be taken against that person, right? I mean, you can argue whether he means individuals should go after or not, but calling someone a traitor is very different from expressing vigorous disagreement with them in one way or another.
I'm not sure she had me sold on that point. But a lot of the other things she had to say I obviously agree with, and I think it will be unhealthy on the right to be litigating actual policy disagreements as personality disagreements, and that will be to the Democratic Party's advantage if Republicans go down this route.
I agree with that point. Coming up, Michelle Obama says that America is not ready for a female president, and she reveals whether she has political ambitions herself. Stick with us, we'll be right back with that.